Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or do the unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnah followers, stream it every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers.
Message from Sunnah followers. This is from Sheikh Saleh. We need to unite. Sisters, wear your hijab, wear your beards, be proud of your beards. Stay home, stay in your home. Stand up, unite, and stand for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's right, Saleh. We all should stand up in solidarity, not transgressing the limits of Allah, but standing together with patience and understanding. This is Sunnah followers.
With dignity, humility, and balance.
Seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger. The seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger. The seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger. The seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger. The seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger. You just need to stay away. You just need to stay away. Stay away today. There's a heavy price to pay. Stay away, stay away, stay away. You just need to stay. Prohibition, limitation. You just need to stay away. Proper Aqidah, Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah, Minhaj and Aqidah. Actions speak louder than words,
Sunnah following kids, come with me.
Gotta work hard to get to heaven. Treat the people good like the prophet would. Proper Aqidah, Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah, Minhaj and Aqidah. Actions speak louder than words, Open your eyes and look around. Open your eyes. See the very things that you read about coming true. Don't you realize the moments are near? Correct yourself in your affairs. He has made it crystal clear. These are the signs of the time. Assalamu alaikum. Sunnah followers, new class, stay tuned. Signs of the times. You will make it through The fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through.
Ina alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I want to welcome everybody here to our first class for today. And before we get started, please, guys, let me remind everyone, please try to support this dawah effort. This is the first week of the first of the month, and we don't have much money at all in our account. And they will be taking out our $2,000 worth of monthly expenses. And being that we are a nonprofit organization, you know, we depend on your donations in order to continue to stay on the air with all of our programs, to continue to do the things that we do. So please support us. You can, you know, scan the QR code at the top of the screen, or you can go to PayPal me/SunnahFollowers, or you can Zelle it to Laila, Laila, at Sunnahfollowers.net. That's our business account. And look at all the blessings and rewards. Just to share with you guys, I got a text message today from one of the brothers here who's been coming here. He said since Ramadan, him and his family, he has his whole family, his wife, his children, they all come to the classes here. And he was saying that he's only been coming for, you know, since Ramadan, a couple of months. And he said, subhanAllah, he's been Muslim all his life, but he's never understood this religion this way before. And he said he never thought it would be a female, a woman that would be able to break it down to him like I have. And, you know, I told him, well, there's a reason for that. You know, I speak your language. I speak English. I'm American. SubhanAllah. That's one thing. And then I was born and raised here in America. I grew up here in America, even though I'm Egyptian. You know, I was taught grassroots English, and it was decided when I was a kid that I would grow up to be a daya. It wasn't my choice. It was my mother and my family and my community's choice, because I grew up in the 60s, the civil rights era, right after Malcolm X was assassinated. That's when, you know, Sunni Islam took off, and my parents were with that group. Okay. So subhanAllah, it makes sense. You finally found somebody that can break things down to you in grassroots English, because that's the problem here in America. A lot of these brothers come here from overseas and their language skills are not good, or, you know, they do have good language skills, but their knowledge of the religion is not correct. So, you know, this is the time. So, mashallah. But the brother was saying that, you know, since he's been coming here, him and his family, he's become closer to his family. His children are proud to be Muslim, and how everything has changed in his household, because his household, he used the words, their fitra has been ignited, alhamdulillah. And I told the brother, I'm sure Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd would be glad to hear that too, because Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd put a lot into these books, you know, being that he's one of those people who doesn't speak this language well. You guys can imagine, you know, how hard it was for him to be able to break the basic concept and meaning of the Shahada down and put it in these books for an American, well, in American English, so that the English-speaking world can understand their religion better. So I'm sure that I told him that I would pass that on to Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd for him too. let him know how his books are really impacting the Muslims around America's, life. And then the brother also shared with me how he's given donations. He's been donating to the website and also to his mosque because he took my advice. Remember, I always tell my students, they always ask me, Layla, when we got charity, how should we give it if we shouldn't send it overseas, And because that hadith, the prophet said, who are the people most deserving of your charity? The Muslims in your community. Charity begins at home. So I've always told my students, whatever money you have left over at the end of the month, minus your living expenses, if you want to donate for the sake of Allah, split it in half. Give 50% to your local Islamic community. So that way you're helping the Muslims in your community. And then give the other half to this website, because my dawah is impacting Muslims all over the world. So this way you're helping the Muslims around the world by giving them the best that anybody can give them, something that has no price tag on it. And that is true knowledge and true understanding of the deen. So that brother said that's what he did. He did that last month. He did it this month. And mashallah, he said, subhanallah, he said, Sister Layla, it seems like every bit that I gave for the sake of Allah, Allah truly did return it to me tripled. He said tripled. I said, what do you mean? He said, subhanallah, I got money rolling in from people who claim that they made a mistake in my accounts for stuff. I said, what do you mean? The gas bill, the gas company, he said, for example, sent me a check, for $500, saying that they overcharged me for this past year. He said that he got another check from another company, for another $500, saying that he was overcharged there. Then he got his job. He got a raise at his job. He said Allah surely speaks the truth. He said, when you went over that verse with us about how during Ramadan we shouldn't be afraid to give in charity, because whatever we put forth, Allah will send it back double. He said, Sister Layla, I got the money rolling in. He said, I've never felt this way before. He said, my family, the whole family, my wife, he said, my wife loves you. She loves your classes. She loves hanging out with the old ladies. His wife comes in our Zoom room too. He said, my wife, she loves hanging out with you and the old ladies. He said, and my children, he said, they just love you. They get you. So alhamdulillah, that made me feel pretty good today. I said, that's nice to hear. And I will share with Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid how these books have really helped his family. And so again, I wanted to share that with you guys just to remind you, don't ever allow Shaitan to cause you to think that because you are giving in charity to help someone else, that you're taking from yourself. Because that's one of the ways that Shaitan tries to dupe us. Because he knows how Allah loves those who are charitable. The people who are charitable, this is one of the categories of people that will be under the shade of Allah on the day of judgment. So don't ever let Shaitan get in your head and try to tell you, oh no, any donations I give, I could have bought a pair of shoes for my children that they didn't really need or something. Don't let Shaitan get to you, because, whatever we do for Allah, as far as financial, Allah will send it back double, tripled, however. And that is a reality. And I just wanted to share that with you guys from this brother. And also, before I go into the class, remember from my Q&A show yesterday, a lot of the sisters, most of the questions I got were from the college students, because we had an incident, family drama. We had an incident with a couple of my students. They got put in jail for that protesting and crap. So it ended up turning into a Q&A session for the college kids, which, by the way, was excellent. But something that came up that I got text messages about, because a lot of the women are still struggling with this. And I'm going to try to break it down and explain it to you better. My head is hurt. Y'all got to excuse me. I don't know. This side of my head, neck, I don't know if it's the way I slept or if it's arthritis or what. I did it. I worked out today. Ooh, right here. It just hurts. But anyway, I don't know. I think it's because being that you sisters are sisters from the West, and so many of you have psychologically been broken as women. And what do I mean by that? A lot of these brothers have broken the women with this nonsense about how because Allah created you female, you're supposed to be ugly, you're supposed to be dirty, you're supposed to be unattractive, you're not supposed to take pride in your appearance unless you're sexting your husband, you know. And I mean, this is what the men have put in your minds, the Western women's mind. And I say West because the Arabic women know better than that. Can't no man put that garbage in their mind. You know, Arabic women don't allow men to try to mess them up mentally that way. Okay? They'll break the men, not the men break them. But this is a Western thing. You know, these brothers have come to America and with their dawah, or come to the United Kingdom, or have their schools and they're teaching this nonsense that is not true, which I've proven to you guys that none of that crap is true when you look at the stories of the female heroines of Islam. All right. And since women have been stripped and told that they're supposed to be not visible, and when they are visible, it's supposed to be as if they don't exist, when nowhere does Allah teach any Muslim, male or female, to be that way. That's ignorance. So a lot of women are confused. Yesterday, the question that was asked to me during the Q&A was, what's the difference when I told you sisters that we cannot make public spectacles of ourselves? A lot of you don't know what it means to be a public spectacle. This is not Arabic. This is grassroots English. Okay? So I'm going to try to explain what a public spectacle is. A public spectacle is someone who puts themselves on display publicly for the world to see, for the world to acknowledge, for the world to admire, for the world to acknowledge. And it's a physical thing. You guys understand? I want to be acknowledged physically. When I enter a room, I want you to know I am here. So I'm going to douse myself with all kind of perfume. So when I hit the doorway of the masjid, they can say, what's that smell? And they turn and see, oh, it's Laila. That's a public spectacle, a public display. Do you guys understand? When I go to the mall, I'm going to have bangles around my ankles so that whenever I walk, I'm going to stomp my feet. So they'll go ding, 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 ding. You hear me coming. This is a public spectacle. So when you're in the mall, you hear this cling, clack, cling, clack, cling, clack. You're going to look to see who it is. Oh, it's Laila. That's a public spectacle. It doesn't mean catwalk. It's not a catwalk. A catwalk is just when you walk down a lane to be noticed. No. This means publicly displayed, to be acknowledged, to be recognized, to be known that I am here. Do y'all get it? Elvis has entered the building. It's an announcement of yourself. Do you sisters got it? Laila has arrived. and you look and I'm here, present. I'm here. Bow to me. Give me your charm. Give me your love. Give me your attention. Do you sisters understand now? It's to publicly seek the attention of others physically, to physically. That means I'm right here in person. You can feel me, touch me, see me, smell me. I'm here. Acknowledge me. Do y'all get what public spectacle means now? This is forbidden for the Muslim woman. Can anybody figure out why it's forbidden? I mean, it makes sense. Why would a woman who does this, what is this woman doing? The simple fact that I publicly want you to acknowledge me and see me and feel me, smell me, taste me even. What am I doing? Can anybody think, what am I doing? It's the oldest charm that women have done. What am I doing? Is there anybody here in the Zoom room?
Showing off?
No, we are so
Prostituting your...
Exactly. That's prostitution. The old have been doing since Allah, after Allah made Eve. That's a form of prostitution. To be acknowledged that way. Exactly. Seduce, seduction. The best word in English is prostitution. Islam forbids Muslim women to prostitute themselves. Can somebody do me a favor? And the children need to hear this too. They already done heard it in the streets. Sister Fatma, I want you to go to dictionary.com and look up the word prostitute, not prostitution. I want you to read the definition of prostitute to the people listening to me. So these sisters know what public spectacle means. A public spectacle is a form of prostituting yourself. Look up the word prostitute and read the meaning out loud for these sisters. And I want your daughters to hear it too. This is where a degree in English comes in.
Okay, let me see. It says a woman who engages in sexual activities for money.
Did you do prostitution or prostitute?
Prostitute.
Okay, look at the verb. Not the noun. That's a noun. Look up the verb. What does it mean to prostitute?
To lower in character, dignity, or quality.
Y'all hear that? Prostitute is an English word that means to lower your dignity. Read or say it again. Read it again.
It says to lower in character, dignity, or quality.
To lower in character, to lower in dignity, to lower in quality. That's what prostitute means. Don't look up the noun, because English is just like Arabic and French and any other language. A word can be a noun, or a word can be a verb, or a word can be an adjective. Does it have adjective in there? Does it have any other meaning on there, Fatma? I guess she's busy.
Given synonyms.
Okay, no, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so to prostitute yourself means to lower your dignity and character to that of something displeasing to Allah. Y'all understand what prostitute means? Islam came about and raised us up Before the Prophet Muhammad received the call to prophethood, this is where history comes in. How were women treated? Remember, I taught you guys that. Back in the 6th, 7th, 8th century, before Islam, these were the dark ages. Women were viewed as nothing but cattle. They were viewed as a possession. Most people killed their female children. They would only allow a few to live, okay, just to keep the population going. But women were prostituted. They were treated in a demeaning manner. They were made to settle the scores. They were used to settle the scores. In wartime, if a village fought another village, the women were taken as captives to be prostituted. The children were taken to be enslaved. Okay? So that was the status of a woman before Islam. Before Islam, a woman had no rights. She had no dignity. She had no choices. She was property owned by her husband, or if he died, she became the property of his brother. If he didn't have a brother, she became the property of his father or grandfather or whatever males were in his family. Women had no value except sex. Okay? When Islam came about, Allah gave us women rights that we never had before. After the Battle of Badr, that's when Allah sent down the verses of hijab, saying to the women, you are not like other women. When you go outside publicly, draw your khimars over your bosom to protect yourself from harm. Wear overgarments to cover your body, your breasts, your private parts, so as to not prostitute attention upon yourself. Okay? Everybody understand that? Allah raised us women up from the level of dirt to a level of dignity, a level of respect. So the way we dress as Muslim women, this is our dignity. Okay? And then he sent down more verses telling us how to behave. Because before Islam, all that the women knew how to do was use their female charm. Okay? Because every woman knows that she can be a weakness for any man. A woman has one charm that the man cannot resist, and that's her seductiveness. So the girls back in the 6th century who were allowed to survive were trained either in warfare or in poison, and they all were trained in the art of seduction. Seduction, because seduction may save their life. Okay? So Islam came about, and Allah sent down these rules for us, these guidelines for us women to cover our bodies, not your face, but to cover your beauty of your breast, your legs, your behind, your hair. This is the stuff that turns men on. Your face. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. You may think I'm attractive. He may think I'm ugly. I might be too pale for him. I might be just right for her. For him. He may not like big dark eyes. He might like blue. Face ain't got nothing to do with that. Allah knows his creation. That's why he said everything but this. When we women go out the house publicly, everything must be covered except this. The face, the hands, and what appears thereof naturally here. if I have to reach up and grab something. All right? And then Allah sent down more rules too. He said, you women are better than the women before you. So when you go out into the marketplace, when you go out in the public, do not do things like you used to do before Islam. Don't behave the way you women used to behave to get attention. Do not stomp your feet to make your jewelry jingle when you enter the marketplace, to attract the attention of men like you used to do when you had to seduce them, charm them, prostitute them yourself to get any respect. The only way a woman could get respect before Islam is through seduction, her charm, prostituting herself. You guys get it? Putting herself on public display. So Allah says, don't make a public spectacle. In English, the word is, don't make a public spectacle of yourself like you used to do before Islam. So you Muslim women in the century of 2024, y'all need to wake up. You can look beautiful. You can wear nice clothing. You can be seen. But what you cannot do is make a public spectacle of yourself. That means you cannot prostitute yourself. You cannot go out the house decked up deliberately, intentionally to attract and seduce men like the women used to do in the 6th century with all that perfume, with all that prostitute style makeup. Makeup is not haram. The Prophet's wives wore makeup. How did they look? They looked like me. They had on their coat perfectly, like mine. Okay? But prostitutes don't look like Layla. You sisters know that. If Layla wanted to go out and get a man, I'm not going to look like this. I'm going to put that glitter on. I'm going to put them fake lashes on like y'all doing. I'm going to put on all this crap on my cheeks to make them bright and make them attract you. I'm going to put on all this luscious, wet lipstick and all this other stuff, to get your attention, to make a man think what I can do to him with my lips. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's what's haram. Makeup is not haram. It's what you do with it that is. Everybody understand that? So as Muslim women, we cannot prostitute ourselves like we used to do before Allah gave us rights. Back in the 6th century, women had to do that to survive. We ain't got to survive that way no more. We're women of dignity now. We're women of humility and respect. I don't have to take off my clothes like Nicki Minaj to be respected anymore. But women are doing it because they want to. I don't have to walk around like Beyonce, naked, old as she is, fat as her behind is, hitting the stage with her children looking like that. Because that's the only way she can demand respect and get money. That's prostitution. We can't put ourselves on public display like that. A Muslim woman cannot be a soccer player. Why? Because I'm on public display. Again, it's the same as prostituting me. What do you need to see two women kicking a ball for? What do you need to see? Watch me kick a ball for? Modeling. That's prostituting myself. It's not the same as taking a picture. A picture says 1,000 words. But am I prostituting myself? Okay? Do you sisters understand the difference now? So no, we don't have to stay locked up in no house. Yes, I can go out publicly, but I cannot make a public spectacle of myself. Does everybody understand? The prophet's wives, they went out publicly. They fought on the battlefield. They participated in dawah. They participated in events at the mosque. But they did not put themselves out as public spectacles. There's a difference. Everything they did was for the sake of Allah. That's where Fisabilillah comes in. Why am I doing dawah? I'm not doing it to make a public spectacle of myself. I'm doing it Fisabilillah. This is jihad. I'm doing jihad, bro. I got to deal with the hypocrites. I got to deal with the innovators. I got to deal with the haters. This is jihad. I'm fighting. This is my battlefield. The internet, cyberspace is my battlefield. And I'm a warrior on the battlefield trying to get Allah's message out. This is Fisabilillah. Just like Aisha was Fisabilillah with her dawah. She had over 350 students. Did y'all know that? One of Imam Malik's teachers was her student named Asma. Did y'all know that? Fisabilillah. So unless it's Fisabilillah, you women do not make yourselves public spectacles. Do y'all understand? Is that clear? Unless it's Fisabilillah, for the sake of Allah, you women are forbidden to make a public spectacle of yourself as you did before Islam. Because women had to be prostitutes before Islam. You ain't got to do that. Is it clear? People in Zoom, please wake up and tell me if I broke this down.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the brothers, they take it to one extreme with you guys. And then the sisters who are ignorant take it to another extreme. Well, I'm giving you the real meaning. Per Aisha, radiyallahu anha. And by the way, this is what Aisha shared with the Roman women. What's the source? Bukhari, Muslim, and Muwatta. You got to know this religion. When the Roman women converted to Islam and Muawiyah sent them to her to learn, they asked her the same thing y'all asked me. Well, what can we do as women if we can't become public spectacles? So she broke it down just like I'm breaking down to you. She said, we were Fisabilillah. We were struggling in the way of Allah to make Islam the religion. Unless you're doing what we did with me, my co-wives, and what we women did. You women sit down. She had to tell the Roman women that. You Roman women, the Roman women had a problem with what? What did the Romans have a problem with? Homosexuality. Because they had this public bath thing. Oh, yeah. For those of you who don't know history, the Romans were clean people as far as cleanliness. They stayed in public baths, but they were in the public baths because they were homosexuals too. They liked to have sex with women, men, and they also did bestiality too. Oh, yeah, they had sex with animals too. So Aisha was trying to get the Roman women to understand these public baths that y'all do is haram. You women have got to stop bathing together because the Romans would bathe together. She said, y'all got to stop that. Any woman who takes off her clothes in a place other than her husband's home has broken the barrier between her and Allah. Oh, Aisha had to teach these Roman women because Roman women were very whatever. So she had the same problem I have with you, trying to get them to understand we can be seen. You can go out the house publicly, but carry yourself with dignity. Carry yourself with humility and balance. Stay away from the bathhouses. We don't do that. You're Muslim now. You can't go and take baths together and clean each other's private parts. Oh, yeah, they did that. They clean each other private. That homosexual crap. She said, y'all can't engage in that crap no more. You got to stop it. And all that perfume you women like to wear, and see-through clothing. When Roman women love see-through clothing, the Nicki Minaj look. She said, y'all got to stop that see-through clothing crap too. What's up? Displaying your body. You're a Muslim now. Allah has made you a woman and given you rights. You don't have to prostitute yourself for attention no more. So she had the hardest time explaining this too, just like I'm having. But the difference is, the reason why it's hard for me to explain is because the brothers have come to America and come to the West and stripped you sisters of all your rights. They got y'all thinking y'all supposed to be cyclops, ugly. It's haram to leave the house, wear pajamas to the mosque and all that. I'm dealing with that, where she dealt with freedom and homosexuality. Life is truly a circle. So is that clear? So you sisters, keep that in mind. You can do anything as long as it doesn't make you a public spectacle. Working as a nurse is not a public spectacle. A doctor is not a public spectacle. A model is. An airline steward, that's a public spectacle. That ain't Fi-sabilillah. A doctor works Fi-sabilillah. A nurse works Fi-sabilillah. So they have to be out there. What is an airline stewardess doing? That ain't nothing on display. Do you sisters get it? I hope that's clear. All right. Okay. So again, Islam is balance. You don't want to go too far to the right, nor do you want to go too far to the left. Islam is right here in the middle. Allah is not rigid, nor is he lenient. We're balanced. We're in the middle. That's why Allah says in the Quran, you people are the middle. You are the best because you are in the middle. You're not too far to the right like the Jews, or not too far to the left like the Christians. We are moderately balanced. And everything in our religion makes sense. There's a reason for everything. All right. So with that said, I hope that I make that clear for the sisters who were confused about that. And alhamdulillah, today, for this class, we're going to begin chapter 5. And chapter 5 of this book is so grand because now what Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid is going to do is take us on the journey of how to hold yourselves accountable. Because that's the problem with us today. We don't hold ourselves accountable for what we do, for what we say. So this chapter 5 of the book, Diluting Wala Wal Bara, focuses on how to hold ourselves accountable. Because if we hold ourselves accountable before and after we do or say something, that's how we can purify ourselves and in turn strengthen our relationship with Allah. So let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Hold on here. And by the way, please support us, guys. We need donations like crazy. I haven't even checked our account. I know I don't want to see that we're overdrawn again. It's going to make me stressed out, and I can't afford to get stressed out right now. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I took my anxiety. So one of my relatives is here. She asked me, I took my anxiety pill. I took my Laxapro. In fact, I just took it an hour ago. Trying to handle my stress. Yeah, I take Laxapro. Okay, hold on for a second, guys. Let me put the PowerPoint up here. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Where did it go? I thought I opened it up. Wait a minute. Well, here it is. Holding oneself accountable. Okay. I got so many PowerPoints on my desktop, guys. I tell you, I get all mixed up. This is the one for you guys. And now for the Zoom people, the YouTube. Here we go. Wala Wal Bara. Okay, here it is. Inshallah, y'all can see this. Okay, I'm going to make it large. Yeah, I take Boost Bar. Well, you know, the Laxapro works good. I like that Laxapro. The doctor has me on Laxapro for it, and it's pretty good. I've been taking it for 2 years now. It's pretty good. Plus, it doesn't have any side effects. That's why I like it. It also helps with hot flashes. Laxapro helps with hot flashes too. And I like it for that too. Okay, hold on for a second. Okay, inshallah, y'all will be able to see. Here we go. Okay, inshallah, everybody here can see. So tonight we're going to be discussing chapter 5, which will address how to implement loyalty and disassociation when holding ourselves accountable through self-reflection. Remember, we talked about self-reflection during the month of Ramadan. And I really hope that everybody is still doing it. Remember, during Ramadan, one of the things I suggested that every Muslim does is that at the end of each night, we take some alone time and think about all the choices, all the decisions, and all the actions that we did during the day. And ask ourselves, did I do them for the sake of pleasing Allah? And did I do them the way Allah commanded me to do? So that way, this is called self-reflection. Well, alhamdulillah, this chapter to learn how to hold ourselves accountable even better through self-reflection. And let's take a look. And again, as a reminder, self-reflection, it deepens our loyalty to Allah. And by self-reflection, we can improve ourselves and also improve our spiritual growth. Self-reflection also allows us to gain insight into our relationships with others and our relationship with Allah. And this in turn will help us to strengthen our commitments to Allah. So self-reflection is very important, guys. It's something that we need to do every day before we make a decision and even after we make it. Okay? And the concept of allegiance and disassociation, the role it plays in this is it reminds us of the importance of our allegiance to Allah. It also reminds us of the need to disassociate from anything that goes against his commands. So if I'm going to hold myself accountable before I do a deed, I'm going to make sure that the deed that I do doesn't contradict Allah's laws. Like we talked about yesterday, protesting. You want to know if you should protest at your college, university. You think about it, doing this. Will it impede upon any of the laws, the rules, the guidance of Allah? And also, guys, if we are honest with ourselves, by being honest and assessing ourselves, this is where we can see where our weaknesses lie. This is where we can also see where our strengths lies. We'll be able to recognize what habits, what behaviors, or what attitudes we have that may stand in the way of our spiritual growth, that can stand in the way of our connection with Allah. So self-evaluation, self-reflection is everything, guys. The companions did it all the time. Aisha, radiallahu anha, she said every night after Isha, she would do self-reflection, self-evaluation. Hafsa, radiallahu anha, Hafsa would do a lot of self-evaluation every night before going to bed. Salama, radiallahu anha. She did a lot of self-reflection too. This is what the female companions would do. Every night before going to bed, they all would take that time to reflect on themselves. So that way, as Hafsa said, Hafsa realized that she had an attitude problem. Hafsa realized that anger was her problem. Hafsa realized that the prophet would never care for her like he did Aisha. So she had to stop trying to be Aisha and instead try to be herself and curtail her anger. And as a result of her discovery of that through self-reflection, that's when Hafsa repented from the evil she did in regards to Maria, when she came home and found Maria with the prophet in her home, okay? So again, self-reflection creates the means to seek repentance and forgiveness while acknowledging and taking responsibility for our shortcomings. And Hafsa, may Allah be pleased with her, showed us how to do that when she shared her story with us that I went over with you guys in the Heroines of Islam. Okay? Also, self-reflection enables us to measure our progress and growth in light of our allegiance and in light of disassociation from that which opposes our allegiance. And through continuous evaluation, this is how we strive for greater awareness and accountability. And we learned that from Aisha, radiallahu anha. Aisha realized that her temper and her mouth were her worst problems. Alhamdulillah, she was able to master her temper while married to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But her tongue was her trial all the way up until her death. Her tongue is what caused her to create one of the biggest mishaps, which became the battle against Ali that she regretted for the rest of her life. Her tongue. So by continuous evaluation, we become more aware of our strengths and weaknesses, and we can hold ourselves accountable. And in turn, this will ensure our spiritual growth to be guided through that allegiance to Allah. Like it was with all the prophets' wives, with Aisha, subhanallah, when Ali saved her. When Ali saved her from the hypocrites during that terrible battle, as she stood on that camel and the hypocrites were trying to kill her, it was Ali who ordered the camel's legs to be cut off and her rescued off that camel and brought to his tent, where he said, "Do you see now, Aisha? Do you see now?" And she recognized the folly of herself. And he took her back home to Medina. And she spent the rest of her life repenting from that and focusing on nothing but the dawah of being the great scholar that she was. And she left all that political stuff to politics. And she never allowed the people to use her, because that's what happens. Even though Allah gave rights to women, women were still used in the 6th, 7th, 8th century, just like they use us today. Some people say, Sister Laila, the brothers use you to promote their books. The brothers use you to promote them and their platforms, and they never mention your name. Okay? Well, women have always been used. Aisha realized that the people used her, the hypocrites used her to bring dissension from within, to try to destroy the original companions. When she realized that, she said, never again will it happen. Never again will I put myself in a situation to be used by anyone. So again, that's what happens if we do continuous evaluation. Allah will guide us to that allegiance that we should have for him, for his prophet, for the religion and each other. Allah will guide us through that, to that, so that the hypocrites and the enemies of Islam can't take advantage of us. So this is why self-reflection is so important. Okay? Listen to what Allah says and the interpretation, the meaning. O you who believe, fear Allah and let every soul look to what it has brought forth for tomorrow. And fear Allah, because Allah is aware of everything that you do. Subhanallah. When we embark upon the path of self-reflection, this allows us to identify the growth areas in our allegiance to Allah. And through honest introspection, we discover the good habits we have, the good behaviors we have, and the good beliefs that align with Islamic principles. Like that brother that called me today. He's been coming to my website, learning from me, him and his family since Ramadan. And he said, Subhanallah, Laila, the fitra is awake in all of our hearts. My family, my kids, we all get along so well. My wife and I are so close. The children, we're all so close. We all understand what our purpose is, what our mission is, what the ultimate goal is. And we reflect upon what our purpose is. He said every morning when the children go off to school, my wife reminds them to stand firm, to stand strong, and to hold on to the rope of Allah and not be allowed the non-Muslims to misguide them, because his kids are not in Muslim school. He said he can't afford it. Okay? So this process empowers us to strengthen our commitment to Islam, to deepen our connection with Allah. So this is why we should engage in self-reflection, guys. Unless we think about our actions, reflect upon our choices and our decisions, how can we change for the better? This verse here of the Quran encourages us to acknowledge and appreciate our good actions, our good intentions, and our good choices. This verse also serves as a reminder that our good deeds are what contribute to our spiritual growth. The more good you do, guys, the more positivity you do, the closer you become to Allah. The more bad you do, the more evil you embark on, the more distance you're putting between you and He. Okay? Let me share a couple of hadiths with you guys to show how the companions valued self-evaluation, self-reflection. Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said, hold yourselves accountable before you are held accountable, and evaluate yourselves before you are evaluated, because the reckoning will be easier upon you tomorrow. Only if you hold yourselves accountable today. This is one of my favorite statements of Umar. May Allah be pleased with him. This is a statement that my stepfather used to tell me when I was a young kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, and I was rebellious like most kids are. He used to tell me, Laila, hold yourself accountable before you are held accountable, and check yourself before you are checked. This is something we need to share with our children, because death can come at any moment. We don't know how much time we have here on this earth. Children are dying all over the world, not just in Gaza, but they're dying in Africa. They're dying here in America too. Okay? So tomorrow is not guaranteed to any of us, promised to any of us. Hold yourself accountable so that when death does come knocking at your door, you can open it and go willingly instead of sitting there trying to fight off the angels. Subhanallah. So Umar's statement on self-reflection and accountability shows the importance of checking ourselves out by holding ourselves accountable and reviewing our actions and intentions. We become aware of the shortcomings we have. We know what areas within ourselves we need to work on. You may realize you need to work on your tongue like Aisha realized. You may realize you need to work on your temper like Hafsa realized. This proactive approach to self-reflection prepares us for the day of judgment. It prepares us for the grave. It makes it easier for us to face the consequences when that angel comes knocking on your door. Okay? And again, a lot of people ask, like I had a sister ask yesterday, Sister Laila, how do we know if Allah is pleased with us or angry? And what was my answer to her? You should know. Check yourself. Well, self-evaluation also allows us to identify the good habits and behaviors that we do that will cause Allah to be happy with us. And how do I do that? Well, by examining my interactions with others. How do I treat my parents? How do I treat my siblings? How do I treat my students? How do I treat my neighbors, my co-workers? The way you treat them can determine whether Allah is pleased with you or not, because Allah says give everyone their rights. So the actions of kindness we do, the contributions to society that we give, and our commitment to honoring the obligations of Allah, such as the prayers, the worship. Another person asked me yesterday, how can I show justice for Palestine? What was my answer? The way to show justice for Palestine is to first give justice to Allah. How can you be just to anyone else if you're not just to Allah? Are you doing your prayers? Are you fasting? Did you make up your Ramadan fast yet? Are you staying away from the things Allah commanded you to stay away from? Are you growing your beard, doing what you're supposed to do? Okay? Give Allah His just due first. Once you give Allah His just due, that's given for the rest. Does everybody understand that? Okay? This helps us recognize the areas where our allegiance to Allah is solid and consistent. Okay? Also, when we celebrate or acknowledge the areas of growth that we have made, that we have done, this will enable us to reinforce the positive behaviors and deepen our connection with Allah. It also fuels our devotion to Him. And in turn, this will lead to us being able to embrace and practice Wala Wal Bara like we're supposed to. That's the problem today with Muslims. We don't have Wala Wal Bara. We don't have that allegiance to Allah. You can't skip past Allah and His allegiance. You can't bypass the Prophet Muhammad and his allegiance, but you're going to show it to Palestine. You're going to show allegiance to Palestine, but you ain't showing Allah nothing. You ain't showing the Prophet Muhammad anything. No, you can't bypass them. Does everybody understand that? And that's the message Allah is trying to give us. Because as a nation, we have all bypassed the law and the prophet. We're not showing allegiance to Allah as we're supposed to. We're not showing allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad as we're supposed to. And that's why Allah has sent this war. So you want to help Palestine? Help yourself first by giving justice back to Allah and his Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then maybe Allah will lift up his retribution. Subhanallah. All right. So self-reflection is the key to everything. It's also the key to stomping out the things that prevent us from making progress. Remember, guys, as we transform with allegiance and disassociation, your soul and the fitra of your heart may encounter various things that will stand in the way of its progress. It could be habits, behaviors, attitudes, whatever, but they will all be contrary to the principles of Islam. That's why we have to learn this religion. We have to know what the lawful and the unlawful things are. We don't know those things. We have to know what your role as a woman is, what your rights as a woman is, instead of being broke down and brainwashed by oppressive men. Okay? You have to learn your religion correctly, and then you can stop. You can stomp out those things that prevent you from making progress. And it all begins with first identifying these things. And the first thing we need to take a look at in identifying the things that stand between your spiritual progress is your negative thoughts. Negative thoughts that you have about this religion, those doubts. You're questioning what Allah says. You're questioning what the Prophet commanded. Or you're doing what a lot of my students are doing, which I don't like. Y'all are taking the teachings and twisting them around to apply to things that they don't apply to. I don't like that. As my students, y'all got to stop doing that. I told you guys, yes, stop taking the verses of the Quran. Stop taking the hadiths when I break them down to you and twist them around to a hadith that ain't got nothing to do with it. Don't take, well, like I said, the example yesterday, a woman cannot make a public spectacle of herself. That has nothing to do with a picture or a photograph. What the heck does a picture have to do with me prostituting myself publicly as a spectacle? Y'all got to stop doing that. That's doubt. That stuff will stand in the way, of you and your spiritual growth. Also, how many of us suffer with feelings of unworthiness, anxiety? A lot of us have anxiety. I have anxiety. But how many of us have anxiety and don't work on it? We're doing nothing to try to curtail it. These type of things can erode your soul. They can erode the fitra of your heart. They can stomp it out. These type of thoughts lead to a lack of motivation to pursue that which is pleasing to Allah. So we have to work on our negative thoughts, guys. We have to stop falling into the traps of shaitan. And the number one trap is twisting this religion around. That's one of the reasons Allah is angry. That's one of the reasons he brought this war. We done twisted his book the same way the Jews and Christians did. We've done the same thing they did. We've taken the words of the Prophet Muhammad out of context, not even knowing the story, not even knowing the history. We've made ourselves scholars when we ain't qualified to be no scholar because we don't know the history. So we got to rid ourselves of all that negativity, the negative thoughts in regards to religion, and also the negative thoughts regarding yourself. As women, we've been broken. Women have been broken down over the decades into trying to believe that they're nothing but dirt again. A cyclops, trifling, ugly, just a sex machine, though. You're a sex machine for your husband. Only time you can be anything good is if it involves your husband. If your husband ain't around, you go back to being a cockroach. You know, we've been broken down to that. We have to get over those feelings of unworthiness, those feelings of decrepitude that we've allowed the men of this nation to put in our hearts. Okay? Also, another thing that will stand in between your growth is procrastination. God, Allah knows I hate that. Procrastination in your religious duties. You want to put off doing acts of worship. You want to put off doing good deeds. You're going to neglect your prayers. You're going to put off giving in charity. How many of you put off making Hajj? You want to wait till you old to make Hajj. First of all, what guarantee do you have that you're going to be around when you old? What guarantee that you have that you won't be sick in a wheelchair? So we have to stop procrastinating in our religious obligations to Allah. Like I told the brother that asked the question yesterday, how can you do justice to Palestine? Forget about justice to Palestine. You do justice to Allah first and foremost. Stop putting off your prayers. Get to the mosque and do your prayers, brothers. At least the Fajr prayer and at least the Isha prayer. If you can't make no other prayer, if you a Muslim man, go to the mosque and pray Fajr and Isha, because those are the two prayers that the hypocrites can't make at the mosque. So stop procrastinating in your religious duties. And also stop speaking badly of others. I'm getting sick and tired of the kafir word. Everybody's a kafir. Because a person ain't doing what you think they supposed to do. Because you twisted the religion. He's a kafir. Because he don't boycott. He's a kafir. She's a kafir because she got on makeup. She's a kafir. He's a kafir because he don't pray. Who said that? How dare you call somebody a kafir? Because they don't pray. When Allah says there are some people will enter paradise who never did a good deed in their life. Allah says some people will enter paradise who never did a good deed in their life, but they believed in me and never associated partners with me. So how dare you call that brother kafir because he don't pray? I don't care what no imam said. Can't no imam out-trump what Allah says. Allah says, who never did a good deed. Never did a good deed means didn't even pray. So how dare you, brothers, call people kafir because they don't pray? You're following some mathab. Y'all better take them mathab books and burn them. And learn Islam 101 based on the Quran and the authentic hadith. Even the Prophet said it. What's the source? Bukhari. Some people will enter paradise who never did a good deed in their life. But the simple fact that they believed in Allah and never associated partners with him, they'll come out of hell. Because of my supplication. So you people stop calling people kafirs because y'all don't know the hadith. Until you brothers learn the hadith, you ain't no scholar. I don't care what you call. You can call yourself mufti, sheikh, imam, whatever you want. Until you learn them hadiths. All of them by heart with meaning. You will never understand that Quran. Stop calling people kafirs. It's another reason why the war is here. Because we speak ill of each other. We've cursed each other. What did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? My nation will never be destroyed, will never be overpowered by its enemies. Its destruction will come from itself. They'll curse each other, kill each other, oppress each other like you brothers are doing on this internet with this kafir stuff. Everybody's a kafir, including Layla. We gonna see who the kafirs are. Okay? So engaging in speaking badly of others, spreading rumors, backbiting, gossip, all this type of stuff, killing each other's reputation, killing each other's honor. All of this stuff stands in the way of your spiritual growth. And this is why Allah's angry. This is why that war ain't stopping. Y'all can protest, boycott until hell freezes over. This war ain't going nowhere. It's going to spread. It's going to hit you too in America. It's going to hit you too in the UK. You ain't stopping nothing. Keep on protesting. Keep on with your stupid boycott. You ain't doing nothing. Also, another thing that stands in the way of our growth with Allah is our anger, emotions. The Prophet Muhammad said that's what's going to be our downfall. He said, my nation doesn't have the intelligence of the Christians. We're too emotional. We're ignorant. And we're emotional. This is emotions is what's going to be the cause of us transgressing the limits of Allah with each other. We're too emotionally outdone. Like the two students of mine who were put in prison for that protest they did. Why were they protesting? Anger. Anger at what? They were angry at Allah's decree, because that's what it is. All of you protesting, I want y'all to know, what y'all doing is protesting against the qadr of Allah. Y'all ain't helping the Gaza. You're protesting, showing that you cannot accept Allah's decree. Like the Prophet said, every nation has its fire worshipers. The fire worshipers of my nation are those who cannot accept the qadr of Allah. Allah is in control of this, not Israel. So keep on with your protest and your boycott. Keep on showing Allah that you don't believe that the power is with him. You allow your anger, your impatience, your emotions to control your actions that lead to regrettable decisions, strained relationships. All that protesting, all it's done is divided us up. Because Gaza ain't the only place that's suffering. The Muslims in Africa have been genocided since the 2000s. And don't nobody care because they black. All you've done, your actions have led to regrettable decisions, strained relationships in this nation. Your emotional reactions are contrary to the teachings of Islam. Did the Prophet protest? No. Did his companions protest? No, they let the Kafirs do that. The Kafirs did. The Kafirs protested against the embargo against the Prophet's tribe. The Kafirs protested. They let the Kafirs do their thing. You Muslims need to go learn your deen and start making dua like Allah says do, and ask yourselves, what have you done? Are you a contributor to the war? Or are you one of the ones that he's getting ready to bring martyrdom to? Or are you one of the ones that he's getting ready to cleanse the earth of? Ask yourself which category you fall in. When we recognize the emotional hindrances we have, only then can we strengthen our allegiance to Allah. Also, another thing that stands in the way of our growth is falling into the materialism, the life of this world, fame, all these websites, on Islam. Are they doing it for Allah? No, because if they were, it wouldn't be the wrong teachings. They ain't teaching Islam this truthfulness. So much innovation and garbage. But it's all about fame. The life of this world. The money. I don't want to go out and get a job when I can make a YouTube channel and get over 1 million subscribers and just put up debates and crap and show a bunch of stuff to make them laugh and make them angry. So you're falling into the materialism of this world. You're allowing the life of this world to distract you. It's wasting all your time watching that CNN news, which ain't nothing but propaganda and sensationalism. When you should have been in this class learning the deen, the correct way, learning what Allah said to do when he sends war. Because he sent it, not Israel. And the prophet had to tell the companions that, oh no, the Quraysh didn't send this battle. Allah did. Allah said, fight. Fight. This ain't the Quraysh. This is Allah. He had to remind those companions of that. Like Abu Bakr, when he was the caliph after him, fight against these Romans. Allah sent this war, not the Romans. Allah sent it. Allah said it would happen, that we would defeat the Romans and we would defeat the Persians. So don't give that power to the Rome. Don't give that power to Persia. Allah sent this war. It's the same thing I'm telling you crooked Muslims today. Allah sent this. And ask yourself, which category are you in? Are you a cause of it because you abandoned Allah and his rights and the prophet's rights? Or are you someone that needs to be taken out of here because you're corrupt? Or are you one of the good Muslims who is deserving of something better than all of this? Which category are you in, people? Okay? So now let's give a quiz size. If we evaluated ourselves as we're supposed to, especially on a regular basis, we wouldn't make bad decisions. We wouldn't find ourselves in jail because we joined a protest that went crazy because the Muslims leading it don't even practice. I wouldn't have lost out on the reward of praying Taraweeh at the mosque. I would have had my behind at the mosque praying Taraweeh instead of on the streets of New York City, being led by some idiot who was trying to get the Guinness Book of Records of people. You know, we got to do some self-evaluation. All right, so let's look at the quiz for tonight. All right, first question. What is it that makes self-reflection a great tool in deepening our relationship and commitment with the law? Who can answer that? Come on, people. I can't see nothing but this screen because I don't have my other computer open. What is it that makes self-reflection a great tool in deepening our relationship with Allah? In other words, why is self-reflection a good thing for us to do to get closer to Allah, guys? What is it about self-reflection? Go ahead.
It's a good thing because it causes you to be sincere in the choices you make. You'll be able to do everything only for the sake of Allah, and you'll also be consistent in doing those good actions, and it will also help you to recognize what you need to work on and what good habits you should adapt, and it also helps you to build a better relationship with those that are around you.
MashaAllah, somebody took notes. MashaAllah, good. That had to be Yasmin. MashaAllah, Yasmin, good job. What y'all think about her answer? Anybody else in there? Good job, Yasmin. May Allah bless you. Exactly. Oh, and and nobody looking on. Let me log on Facebook. I mean on YouTube. I want to see what they got. Is there anybody on YouTube that let me know what they? Let me come on here. Hold on. Let me come off of.
Yeah, I got it. Aya said you keep yourself accountable and recognize if you have any habits or flaws that are hindering you from being a person Allah is pleased with.
Exactly. You know what your weaknesses are and what things you need to work on too. Mashallah. I hope you guys are still self-reflecting. Remember, I told y'all during Ramadan, I know I do. I did. Let me tell y'all something. I was up all night doing some self-reflection. I self-reflect all the time because when you live by yourself and life ain't going good for you, this world is a prison for the believer. Ain't nothing happy here in my life. I don't have nothing to look forward to. Each day is the same thing, just my classes. So I do a lot of self-reflection and the things I need to work on. And I realize a few things I need to work on. I got a lot to work on. Subhanallah, I know what my strengths are, but I know what my weaknesses are. And I got a new weakness that just developed a few months ago because I'm going through menopause. I got to work on that. Get ready to take care of it. All right. So exactly, guys, self-reflection lets us know what things we need to work on about ourselves. What about this question? We went over the hadith where Umar, radiallahu anha, when he was the caliph, he told the people in one of his khutbahs, hold yourselves accountable before you are held accountable, and evaluate yourselves before you are evaluated, because the reckoning will be easier upon you tomorrow if you hold yourselves accountable today. This is one of his famous khutbahs. Who can give me the meaning of this hadith? What was Umar talking about here? What was he saying here? Can anybody break down the meaning of that hadith? Just break it down word for word. It's easy.
Basically to, like, before you do anything, to check, to be conscious of the decisions that you make.
Mashallah, she's breaking it down. Yes, good. First of all, be conscious. Think about what decisions you make before you make them. Why? Yeah, go ahead. Break the rest.
Acknowledge the wrong that you did and be determined to not do it again before Allah punishes you for it on the day of judgment.
Exactly, guys. This by holding yourselves accountable, like she said, that way you can do away with the wrongs, make the wrongs you did right before you die. If we held ourselves accountable, we'd be able to go back and clean up the mistakes. For example, every night I try to listen, or day, I try to listen to my lectures. Like today I had Awa was playing back the lectures. So if I see something that I said that was wrong, I can go back and correct it. Okay? Even when I look at my actions, what did I do today? How did I treat Jayla, my grandkids? Were I nice with them? Were I too harsh with them? I can go back and make the corrections. The other day I thought about how I did Geechee. I said, Geechee ain't been here. Maybe I was too harsh on her when I told her that video she made was terrible. We can go back and make the corrections. We can evaluate and see whether or not I went too far with this person or not far enough with that one. And we can make the changes before Allah takes our soul, and we can't come back and make the changes then. It'll be too late. I love this hadith. This is what my stepfather used to tell me all the time. Okay, what about this question? Go ahead.
Sister Isra said this means to make sure your intentions are in the right place and truly be honest with yourself. Don't do things because you want the praise of the humans, but that of Allah, because Allah will most certainly hold you accountable on a day there is no coming back. Our ultimate goal is paradise, so we must ensure that everything we do is pleasing to Allah.
Exactly. Good job, Israel. Good job. Exactly, guys. If we held ourselves accountable before it's too late, then we can make sure that we won't end up the bankrupt person. A lot of us are going to be bankrupt on the day of judgment. We're not going to have any good deeds in our favor because we did them with the wrong intentions. That's why I was telling you, sisters, it's wrong. When these brothers say you're supposed to do things to please your husband, that's garbage. That ain't what that hadith is saying. That ain't what it means. Like Aisha radiallahu anha had to check her father and mother and say, I thank Allah, not him. Whatever we do for Allah. You do to please Allah. Because Allah commanded you to do it. And in turn, Allah will cause the people to love you that's supposed to. You don't live your life to please your husband. That's shirk. You live your life to please Allah. We were all created to worship Allah. None of you were created to worship no man. You were created to worship Allah. And you live each day of your life proving that you believe in him by obeying him in everything he commanded. And if you do that, in turn, he will cause the people to love you who are supposed to. You don't obey nobody but Allah. You sisters allow these brothers to brainwash and get you twisted. I'm going to cover my face to please my husband. You out your mind. Aisha wouldn't have covered hers. I sure ain't covered mine. I do only what Allah commands me to do, to please him. Anything extra, Allah doesn't accept unless it's for him. Why should I go around covering myself, making myself look like an oppressed cyclops who can't breathe and hot as heck because I want to please a man? Allah's not even going to accept it. What did Allah say? Allah says he has no need for any deed that was done for his sake and someone else's. It has to be for him alone. So the simple fact that you women are doing it for your husbands, you have committed shirk. You've made your husbands your God, and Allah ain't even accepting it. So you've oppressed yourself for no reason except you were a fool. Hello, that's the bare truth. Y'all see why y'all need to learn from a woman and not a man? Stop learning from these men. When you got a woman sitting here that can break it down better without messing you up mentally. Good Lord. Same thing Aisha used to say. She would tell the women, y'all keep going to Ibn Masud. Why do y'all keep going to Ibn Masud? And when I'm sitting right here, now you're going to come to me after Ibn Masud and told you something you don't like. You women are simple. That's the same way I feel. Y'all run to these stupid brothers. Okay? What about this question? Self-reflection allows us to identify what things about ourselves?
I'll answer. Self-reflection allows us to identify our thoughts. The things that we think about are the things that we do. The things that we think about are the things that we look forward to doing or stop doing things that's unlawful and do things that are lawful. So we need to really examine our thoughts so that we can identify what we are all about.
MashaAllah, good job, Anissa. She wrote that down. She must have liked this lecture. She don't write nothing down. But MashaAllah, self-reflection allows you to think, to identify your negative thoughts, guys. The thoughts that we need to work on that can take us away from Allah. The thoughts about yourself. The thoughts about life. The thoughts about who we're supposed to please. Self-reflection allows us to identify the negative thought patterns we have so that we can change them. and in turn get a better relationship with Allah. Good job. What else? Anybody else? Good job, Anissa. Anybody
It
else?
will also cause us to recognize and use the strength that we have in the way that will benefit us in the sight of Allah.
Exactly. You self-reflection allows you to recognize what you're good at, what your strengths are, what things you are good at that I don't have to put attention on. You know, I got my prayers together. I pray all my prayers on time. I know how to pray them correctly. So now let me focus on giving in charity more, because I realize I'm a little bit too greedy. I'm a little bit too selfish. So it lets you recognize the good things that you are good at, so you can move on to those things that you need to work on. Good job, Yasmin. Anyone else?
Yes, it allows us to check our intentions. Are we doing this thing to please Allah? Are we taking the steps to earn His pleasure, following the Quran and Sunnah?
Exactly, guys. Intentions are everything. I remember when I was the vice president of my union, when I was working, I had a man that I had appointed to be my chief steward. And then one day he came to me and said, Miss Layla, I'm going to resign as chief steward. I said, what are you resigning for? He said, because I just don't want to do it anymore. I said, why not? Because, I said, if I'm the vice president, but if you resign as chief steward, that means I got to pick it up and do it. And I don't have time for it. You know, I was sneaking teaching classes on my job back then. Okay. He said, well, the reason why I don't want to do it is because my heart is not in it. He said, the only reason I took the position was to please you. He said, because I really like you and I want to support you. I campaigned for you to get in office. You know, I was your campaign manager. He said, and I only agreed to the position for you. He said, but my heart just ain't in it. And when he said that, I said, this is a non-Muslim. But I put it in terms of Islam. He didn't want to be chief steward to please Allah. He didn't take that role and that position on for the sake of Allah. He took it on to get close to me, to show support to me. I said, and Allah doesn't accept our deeds unless they're done for him. So when he said that, I said, okay, I'll release you of that position. I'll relieve you of it, and I'll just find somebody else. Okay? So again, guys, self-reflection will allow us to look at our intentions. Why am I doing this? What are my intentions behind this? Am I doing this for Allah? Why am I working every day? Am I working every day because Allah commanded me to provide and maintain my family? Or am I just working because I love the money? I ain't got to work. I got a husband. This is what a lot of you sisters need to ask yourself. What are your intentions in working? Some of you are married to good husbands who make good money, but you're working. Why? Is it, because Allah commanded you to do it? No, because your husband's the provider and maintainer. Are you working to please your husband? If so, Allah doesn't accept it. Allah doesn't accept any deed unless it's done for him. Or are you working because you love money? So this will help you to decide, I need to quit my job and take my behind on home and take care of my children like I'm supposed to do. Self-evaluation allows us to identify the things about ourselves that we need to identify. Yeah. Any other answers?
I was just going to add also with in regards to self-reflection, it makes you take a deeper look at yourself, outwardly and inwardly. Like, what can I change from the outside that I do suffer from as a Muslim? Like, do I not wear the hijab? Do I do things outwardly that I shouldn't do? And it also makes us look from the inside to inwardly. Like, what can I change inside me that is a bad trait that that Allah doesn't like. Like, am I a person who is a cheater? Am I a person who has issues with being trusted? Am I a person who, has bad emotions like jealousy and stuff like that?
Exactly, guys. It'll help you to change the outer things about ourselves that we need to change. Maybe you need to use deodorant, brush your teeth more, get rid of them dreadlocks. Okay? Self-reflection is everything, guys. Go ahead, Famang.
Okay. Trey said self-reflection allows us to see our faults and become better people, and also gives us a chance to right our wrongs. And Sister Sakina said allows us to identify our weakness as well as our strong points. From this, we can continue to grow in our faith and obedience and closeness to Allah.
Mashallah, you guys got it. I think this class was pretty good. But remember, we started this during Ramadan, this reflection. I told y'all we would continue it with this book. Mashallah, good answers. What about this? I think this is the last question.
Just wait a minute. I wanted to say something. I was trying to push it.
Okay, so that's a repeat anyway. So go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just later. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And also self-reflection helps you patient in your anger and letting you know that you can't control nothing, that Allah is in control of everything. And that's helping you, because a lot of people will be like, oh, they trying to stop you from doing this or trying to stop you from doing that in their kids or their family or whatever the case may be. And self-reflection lets you know is that you don't have no control over nothing.
Mashallah, that's very, very, very important. If we would do more self-reflection, we would not be transgressing the limits like we are with ourselves with this war. It would cause us to see that nothing will harm you. Nothing will benefit you unless Allah wills it. Self-reflection leads to recognition that there's something greater than you, that there's something greater than all of this, that there's something greater than everything, and that is Allah. If we would only do more reflection, we'd realize that. But we Muslims today have deviated away from self-reflection. It's all about our desires. It's all about our emotions. It's all about our wants. It's all about what we personally like, personally dislike, what we personally believe, what we personally think. And that's why this is the beginning of what's going to lead to the end. Anybody that thinks what's going on in Gaza is going to stop, y'all crazy. It's not stopping. This is the beginning. The prophet said it would begin there, and it's going to spread throughout the rest of the world. Then we will have those 80 nations signing against, because while this is going on in Gaza, it's going on in Africa. Y'all forget about Africa. To be honest, it started in Africa. It started in Africa. It's just that the Muslim world don't care. Okay, like one brother that's famous put in his video, my heart goes out to all the Muslims, but I'm sorry, it's all about Gaza now. Y'all know who he is, Mr. Famous OS. Okay? Well, it's getting ready to spread. It's already been in Africa. It's already in certain parts of Asia too, like China, Bermuda, and all them. It's going to hit America. It's not until it hits America, Australia, and the UK that the world cares, because those are your superpowers. When it hits America, UK, and Australia, then everybody will care. So if y'all think y'all protesting and boycotting and stopping anything, you're deluded. You're twisted. You got to learn your deen. All right? Okay. So I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions or comments about today's lecture? I really love this. As you guys can see, we're getting into the nitty-gritty now. That's why this whole series, The Right Belief System, this whole series is now officially part of Sunnah Followers online curriculum. because it covers, this trilogy covers the whole belief system of the Muslim. It'll cause you to get a better understanding as to what your purpose is in life, what you were created to do. It'll also teach you how to handle yourself in good times, in bad times. It'll remind you as to who is in charge. Allah, not Israel. Allah, not your protests. Allah, Allah, Allah. All right. Any questions? And by the way, guys, I want to remind everybody we have the class tonight too. Imitations. Prohibited Imitations. That's the book by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. That class will be in 1 hour at 9 p.m. It might be a little bit late because I gotta I tell y'all, this crook I got is bad. I gotta take some Tylenol for my head, and I need to finish the PowerPoint. I started the PowerPoint for that class, but I didn't finish. So I might be like maybe 9:15 or 9:30. So you just look for me to start streaming. I'll be a little late, but that's at 9. So inshallah, I'm gonna log out for right now. I'll be back at 9-ish. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.